Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. It wasn't lipstick on her collar. It wasn't a missing earring. It wasn't perfume. It was a crumpled receipt for room 212, Green Pines Motel. Time-stamped 10:41 a.m. and paid in cash. Wedged right beside an empty iced coffee cup in my wife's car. She had left it unlocked again. Something she only ever does when she's in a rush or when she's too distracted to remember she's cheating. 12 hours earlier, she had stood in the doorway of our kitchen, tossing her keys onto the counter like she was the victim in all this. "I'm so sick of your jealousy," she yelled, grabbing her phone. "I slept at my sister's. Happy now?" I didn't say a word. She stormed into the bedroom, slammed the door, and started typing furiously. Her sister, by the way, lives 2 states away and just had foot surgery. But somehow, she's become my wife's favorite cover story. That night, I couldn't sleep. My skin itched with the truth I hadn't said out loud yet. So I did something weak, something I'm not proud of. I waited until she passed out, tiptoed outside in the rain, and opened her car. That's where I found it. The receipt. Room 212, 89999. Single bed. 2 guests checked in. No lies left to guess, just confirmation. I took the receipt, folded it slowly, and put it in my pocket. Not to confront her. Not yet. But to remind myself that I wasn't losing my mind. The next morning, I made her coffee like always. She didn't say a word. Neither did I. It wasn't until she slipped up, until she made it worse, that I spoke. She was brushing her hair in the hallway mirror when she muttered, "Oh, by the way, if you're still suspicious, you can call my sister." That was it. I stood behind her and whispered, "Didn't know your sister lives in a motel." She stopped brushing. Stopped breathing, too. Her eyes met mine in the mirror. No defense, no denial, just a tremor in her hand. And that's when I realized something far worse than betrayal. She wasn't afraid of losing me. She was afraid I might already be gone. The worst part, it wasn't even rage that hit me. It was that weird hollowness you feel right before a panic attack, like your own breath doesn't believe what's happening. She stared at the key card in my hand like it was radioactive. "Where did you get that?" she demanded, voice already cracking. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Her poker face was gone. "Let me explain something. I'm not brave. I'm the kind of guy who triple checks if I lock the door. I whisper sorry to mannequins I bump into. And until last week, I believed that if I just loved her harder, she'd stop pulling away. But love doesn't work like gravity. It doesn't hold people down who are trying to float towards someone else. This motel card, Sunville, room 104, showed up after our couch cushions slipped while I was doing laundry. I wasn't even looking for evidence. I was looking for a missing sock. Instead, I found proof. So no, I wasn't jealous. I was just finally informed. I asked her one more time, "Was it your sister's place?" She blinked fast. "Yes. And I don't appreciate you going through my stuff." I nodded. "Weird that your sister has vending machines in her living room." "You left this too." I pulled out the small receipt for a 325 energy drink, printed right under the motel's name. Now her hands were shaking. "You're being dramatic," she said. "Yeah," I muttered. "And you've been rehearsing that line in front of a mirror with someone else, haven't you?" She froze, her face flushed red, then pale, then red again. I think in that moment, I saw something worse than guilt. I saw calculation. She wasn't trying to fix this. She was trying to figure out how much I knew. So I said it clearly. No yelling, no anger. I parked across the street. "I watched you." It was a lie. I didn't watch. Couldn't. But I said it anyway. And the way her mouth dropped open like a curtain falling told me enough. She thought I'd seen her. And what scared her most was that I hadn't come to drag her out of there. I came home. I let her choose whether to lie, and she did. What happened next wasn't fireworks or yelling. It was worse. She turned around, walked into our bedroom, and closed the door. And I just stood there, holding a key card that belonged to a room I'd never enter, and a woman I'd clearly already lost. The silence the next morning was suffocating. She made her coffee like nothing had happened. 2 sugars, oat milk, the blue mug with the chip on the handle she always pretended not to notice. I watched her from across the table, trying to recognize the woman I married. But all I saw was someone playing house, stirring her drink, like she hadn't burned down everything around her the night before. I didn't ask her anything, I just watched, and she didn't offer a word, not an apology, not an explanation, not even the decency to pretend she was sorry. That somehow hurt more than the motel key card. At 9:08 a.m., she left for work, said she'd be late because of a team meeting. I nodded like a fool, and she kissed me on the forehead like I was a child. Pity. Then, she walked out the door. That was the first time I didn't tell her, I love you, back. 10 minutes later, I noticed her phone. She'd left it on the entryway table in her rush. My first instinct was to leave it alone, tell myself I wasn't that guy, the one who snoops, who digs, who spies. But then again, she wasn't the woman who slept beside me just to sneak off and warm another man's motel sheets. So I picked it up. No passcode. I still don't know if that was arrogance or forgetfulness. Or maybe she wanted me to know and was too much of a coward to say it out loud. Her messages were clean. Too clean. Except one thread. Tyler Jim. My heart started sprinting before my fingers could stop. It wasn't some steamy affair in words. It was colder than that. Practical, discreet. Same place tonight. Yep, I'll grab the key again. He suspects. He's too soft. He won't do anything. Cool, I'll bring wine. Get the cheap one. He won't notice it's missing. I dropped the phone like it burned me. She hadn't just lied. She'd mocked me. Planned things on the assumption that I wouldn't fight back. That I'd roll over. That I was manageable. It wasn't the cheating that broke me. It was being underestimated. I took screenshots of everything. Not to send. Not yet. I didn't even know what I'd do with them. Maybe I just needed proof. That I wasn't insane. That the coldness in our home had a name and a body and a smug little gym tag. I sat there on the floor, still holding her phone, when the screen lit up again. A new message from him. Wear the black one. You know I hate when you dress like his wife. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just whispered the only thing I could feel in that moment. Then don't be my wife. I didn't eat that day. I didn't shower. I didn't move from the hallway floor for what must have been hours. The phone sat beside me like a cursed object, still glowing occasionally with new messages from Tyler, each one like a nail in a coffin that had already been shut. Around 5 p.m., the front door opened. She walked in humming some song I didn't recognize, like she wasn't walking into a crime scene she'd created. Her heels clicked across the floor, then stopped. She saw me sitting there, phone in hand. Her face didn't twist into guilt or fear or even anger. She just went pale, stone still. You left your phone, I said, my voice dry, like my throat was full of dust. She didn't answer at first. Her hand hovered near her purse like she was preparing to flee. I wasn't going through it, I added, which was a lie, a small human lie. I had read every message 3 times. It buzzed. I looked. That's all. Still nothing from her. Just the soft sound of her breath, shallow and fast. Then she whispered, You weren't supposed to see any of that. I'm sorry, it's not what it looks like. Just that I wasn't supposed to know. As if her only real regret was that I found out. I stood up slowly. My knees cracked under the weight of everything she'd built and burned. I'm soft, huh? I said, holding up her phone, shaking it slightly. That's what you tell him? That I won't do anything? Her eyes flickered like she was debating whether to beg or lie. You don't understand, she finally said. You were always so distant. I laughed. Actually laughed. Distant? I spent 6 months working double shifts to help pay off your student loans. I haven't bought new shoes in 2 years, so you could do that stupid candle-making workshop you quit after 2 weeks. That's not fair, she snapped, stepping forward, her face changing, defensive now. You think you're some kind of martyr? No, I said, my voice calm. Terrifyingly calm, even to me. I think I'm a man who begged you to talk to me for a year, while you snuck off to cheap motel rooms with someone who doesn't even buy decent wine. She winced at that. Good. Cal, she said, her voice softening. Please, we can fix this. It was a phase. It didn't mean... Don't, I said. Don't insult both of us. I walked past her, grabbing my keys. I wasn't sure where I was going yet. Maybe nowhere. Maybe everywhere. But I needed air. I needed to step out of that house before it swallowed me whole. She reached for my arm. "Don't go," she said. "Not like this." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Then maybe you should have left like this instead." I didn't drive far. Just down the road, parked near an empty baseball field where we used to sit during summer evenings, with ice cream cones dripping down our hands. It was always her favorite spot. Now it just felt like a graveyard of memories I didn't sign up to bury. I sat there for over an hour, engine off, watching shadows stretch across the grass. At some point, my phone vibrated once, then again, 10 calls. All her. Then a text. "Please come home. We need to talk. I'm sorry." It wasn't even 2 minutes later before another message lit up the screen. "You left the front door unlocked. Come back." I stared at it, heart racing in a way I didn't expect. It wasn't fear. It was recognition. She still thought I was the same man from a week ago. The one who'd come running, forgive quickly, maybe sleep in the guest room for 2 nights before making her pancakes to fix it. She didn't realize something inside me had finally snapped into place. It wasn't anger, not fire, but clarity. The kind that comes after you stop gasping for air and realize you've been swimming in the wrong direction the entire time. I drove home. She was waiting by the door, still barefoot, makeup smeared, trying to look remorseful but not quite pulling it off. Her mascara had dried into crusty streaks. She probably thought it made her look vulnerable. Didn't. "I'm glad you came back," she said softly, arms crossed tight like she was holding herself together. "I didn't come back for you," I replied. "I came back for my laptop." That knocked the performance out of her. Her eyes widened. "What?" "I've booked a room at the Sunrise Inn. Not the one you two use. Don't worry, a different one." I stepped past her into the living room. "I need time to think alone." "No," she said quickly. "You can't just leave like this. We need to work through it." "We?" I laughed bitterly. "There hasn't been a we in a long time, Claire. You chose someone else. Over and over again." She shook her head. "I didn't choose him. It wasn't serious. It was just an escape." That word, escape. Like our marriage was a prison she needed fresh air from. "I offered you help, Claire. I asked you if you were okay. You said you were just tired." I grabbed my bag. "I didn't realize you meant tired of me." She blocked the door. "You're blowing this up. We can fix this. We've been together for 8 years." I looked at her hand on the doorknob, the same hand that sent texts about cheap wine, and laughed at my softness. "You had 8 years to fix it. You spent the last 3 months wrecking it." Her lip quivered. She stepped aside. I opened the door, then paused. "You weren't supposed to get caught, right?" I asked. She didn't answer. I walked out, leaving her standing there in a hallway filled with silence, regret, and no one left to lie to. It had only been 12 hours since I walked out, but it felt like a lifetime. The motel room I checked into wasn't glamorous. Yellow-tinted lamp, buzzing AC unit, the scent of industrial cleaner, trying to mask every story that had unfolded between those walls. Fitting, I thought. A fake freshness for stale betrayal. I sat on the edge of the bed staring at nothing. My phone buzzed over and over. I didn't look at it. I already knew who it was. Claire had shifted from silence to panic to guilt, then back to silence. Her messages stacked like bricks I didn't want to carry anymore. It was weird how quickly my sadness had started curdling into something else. Not anger, not yet, but recognition. I had been living in a story she was writing behind my back, and now I was finally starting to read the footnotes. Later that night, I cracked. I opened her texts. "Can we talk? You walking out doesn't solve anything. You're being cruel now. I didn't sleep with him last night. I swear." That last one made my stomach twist. Not I didn't sleep with him. Just not last night. She was negotiating reality now, line by line. At 2:17 a.m., I opened my laptop and logged into our shared cell account. Not to spy. Okay, maybe to spy. But I wanted clarity. A name, a number, something to give this ghost of a man a face. Tyler. That's what she saved him under. But his real number showed something else. A contact labeled M Contractor. He had hours of call time logged over the last few weeks, always after midnight, always when I was asleep beside her, drooling into my pillow like a damn fool. Out of curiosity or desperation, I called it. One ring, two, voicemail. A raspy voice said, "You know what to do." That was it. No name, no warmth. And just like that, the walls in my motel room felt like they were moving in closer. I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying every recent moment between us like it was part of some slow motion disaster film. Her long showers, her sudden interest in cardio, the way she flinched when I tried to kiss her neck last Tuesday. Around 5 a.m., I got a text from an unknown number. "You really shouldn't call this phone." No name, just that. I stared at it until the sun bled through the motel curtains. Was it him? Was it her? Did it matter? I packed my bag and left the motel by 6 a.m., but I didn't go home. Instead, I went to her office. I had never been that kind of man, never showed up unannounced, never stirred drama in public. But I needed to see her in a place where she couldn't perform, where she wouldn't expect me. I waited in the parking lot, tucked behind a tree. I watched as she arrived at 8:41 a.m., wearing the same black coat I'd once complimented, the same one she wore in the photo Tyler sent her late last month, the one I found buried in her deleted messages, the one where she wasn't wearing anything underneath. She stepped out of the car, fixed her makeup in the mirror, then smiled. That fake, polished smile. It wasn't for me. And that's when I knew she wasn't ashamed. She was just careful until now. She called me the next night. I didn't answer at first. I let it ring until it went to voicemail. Then again, then a third time. I stared at the phone like it was ticking. Part of me didn't want to hear her voice. Part of me needed to know what lies she'd try next. So on the fourth call, I picked up, but I didn't say anything. I just let her speak. "Calvin," she breathed, "please don't hang up. I know you're angry. I know I hurt you, but I swear it wasn't supposed to be like this. I was lonely. You were always at work. You were always tired. I felt invisible." The moment she said that word, invisible, something snapped inside me because I had been invisible too. Invisible when she came home smelling like someone else. Invisible when I made her dinner and she scrolled on her phone the entire meal. Invisible when I begged her to go to counseling and she laughed it off. "You want to talk about invisible?" I finally said. "I learned your favorite wine from a motel receipt, Claire." She started crying. Or maybe pretending to. I couldn't tell anymore. "It didn't mean anything," she whispered. I almost laughed. That line. That tired, soul-rotting line. It didn't mean anything. Then why'd she do it over and over again? Why did she save his number under another name? Why did she tell him I was too soft to fight back? And just like that, my voice broke. "You could have just left me," I said. "You didn't have to humiliate me," she sniffled. "I didn't want to lose what we had." "You already did." There was silence, heavy and long. Then she asked, "Can we meet? Just talk? Face to face?" I hesitated. I really did, because a tiny fractured part of me still hoped she'd look me in the eye and confess. Not just cry, not just twist the blame, but own it. So I said yes. We met at a coffee shop near her office. She showed up wearing the scarf I bought her last Christmas. She smiled like we were old friends. I sat across from her with my hands in my lap, barely able to look her in the eye. "I miss you," she said gently. "I miss us." That's when I pulled out my phone and placed it on the table. "You sure about that?" I asked. Because what she didn't know was that the moment she asked to meet, I called a friend of mine who worked at her office. He owed me a favor, and he gave me something better than a confession, a security timestamp. Yesterday, while I sat outside in my car, watching her enter the building at 8:41 a.m., someone else swiped into the employee entrance, using her guest pass, just minutes after. Male, 6'1", black hoodie. Same guy she'd broken off things with, and they went in together at 8:53 a.m. "I know about Monday," I said. Her face dropped, her mouth opened, but I didn't need to hear it. I stood up. "I'm done letting you talk me in circles," I said, and I walked out, The part that hurt the most wasn't that she cheated. It was that even when caught, she still tried to perform. It's been 6 weeks since I walked out of that coffee shop, and I haven't seen her in person since. She sent a few more messages, some sad, some bitter. One, just a photo of the keychain I gave her from our trip to Oregon. But eventually, the silence grew long enough for her to understand I wasn't coming back. The divorce papers were signed last Friday. I thought I'd feel empty, but I didn't. I felt clean. I'm still not sure when the love died. Maybe it didn't die all at once. Maybe it leaked out slowly every time she smiled at her phone during dinner or told me, "You're imagining things," or walked past me like I wasn't there. Love doesn't always explode. Sometimes it just vanishes quietly while you're trying to hold it in your hands. But here's the part I didn't expect. Healing feels different than I thought. It doesn't look like revenge. It doesn't look like proving her wrong. It looks like standing in my own apartment, cooking dinner for one with a record playing in the background and nobody rolling their eyes at my music taste. It looks like laughing again, really laughing at a movie without wondering if she's pretending to like it. It looks like waking up and not feeling dread. Feels like air. I'm not saying it's perfect. I still have questions. Still have nights where I stare at the ceiling wondering why I wasn't enough. But more and more, I realize the truth. Her cheating wasn't a reflection of my worth. It was a reflection of her emptiness. And that's not mine to carry anymore. So, yeah, I walked out broken, but I'm building something better from the pieces. Something honest, something that doesn't need to be hidden in motel rooms or lies dressed up as sisters' visits. And someday, when someone asks what happened between us, I'll say this: she was looking for something. I stopped pretending to be it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more real stories from the edge of heartbreak and healing only on Reddit Confessions.